Hello, everyone. Hey, Kaiser. Hey, Damsel. How are you? Long time no see. Hey, Janelle. I don't know where that music's coming from. That was nice. So I was just on D Live, and I attempted to do a stream, but I had some technical difficulties, to say the least. A lot of buffering. So that didn't go very well, to say the least. I have a little bit of time since I'm not really interested in the football game this year. So I decided to do a short, I promise, Watts Bowl stream today, since it's Super Bowl, but it's Watts Bowl for the stream. Nothing planned, just seeing what you guys are doing. Maybe answer some questions. But the stream I did on D Live, I found some body cam footage that shows where the juvenile or the child, their face is blurred out for their protection. Why did I do this? I did this because I have an issue with the Chris Watts case and the body cam footage that we have seen, where at the time Nicholas Atkinson was underage when this all happened, because he was only 16. So that being said, his face should have been blurred out on the body cam footage for his protection, because he is a juvenile. You also have Madison Atkinson, Nicole Atkinson's daughter, who is well underage. You know, she was only 3 or 4 at the time, I believe. And we see her several times on the body cam footage where her face is not blurred out, which it should have been for her protection. Now, there are some cases and, you know, body cam footage that I did find where the child's face is not blurred out, or the juvenile. Now, I know that different states have different protocol for body cam footage. I know that it might depend on the actual case itself, depending on whether it be just a child that was left in the back seat of a hot car, or whatever the case may be. Now, when you're dealing with a murder case, I would imagine that it's a little bit probably more important to redact certain things, or again, especially a child or someone underage, a juvenile. Because if we're led to believe, or we were led to believe, that, you know, Chris is this narcissist, no morals, just POS monster who, you know, pretty much murdered his entire family with his bare hands. Now, when you have a case that's gone to trial, you're going to have, again, witnesses, you're going to have people going on the stand. You know how they need to be protected. And I know that the Watts case did not go to trial. However, if we're supposed to believe that Chris is this just, again, monster, and we have Nicole Atkinson, who could, you know, very well be, again, I'm going to say based on the official narrative now, because I don't want, I said this on D-Live, I don't want people to think I'm flip-flopping. Based on what we were told with the official narrative and what we see, Nicole Atkinson was the one who was worried about Shanann, called in the welfare check, and essentially got the police there at the Watts home. I believe it was even her idea to get the news involved and to have Chris do his sermon on the porch thing. So she could have been the reason why, again, based on the official narrative, why Chris didn't have enough time to do whatever he needed to do as far as, hiding evidence or faking phone calls from Shanann's phone, even though he didn't have the password or whatever. You see what I'm saying? So Nicole Atkinson is the one who essentially got the ball rolling as far as police and everything being there. So, hey, Crisis Cast. Hello, Anon K. Swamp Lover. Hello again. Long time no see. Welcome. So she's someone who Chris would probably be pretty angry with, as far as him being one of the reasons he's in prison, besides the fact that he pled guilty, says the official narrative, right? People are if you're that dangerous of a person or that, psychotic or much of a monster, there's ways where you can have things happen even if you're in prison. To that, there's ways to get to outside people or outside sources and possibly, get revenge on these people who, are witnesses or whatever, who put them behind bars for the rest of their lives. So do you see what I'm saying? Like, so, I mean, obviously we know, Chris knows like what Madison looks like and stuff, but that's not the point. The point is that people's information or parties involved in these homicide cases, their identities and their personal information that nobody else should be, like, on the body cam footage, blurred out, or in the discovery, their information should have been redacted for their protection and for their privacy as well. So it's not just protection, but also privacy. So why is it okay for, in the Watts case, to have Nicholas in Madison's face, released to the entire public? Now, not everyone is going to go and do what, a lot of, like, someone like myself did, or these other channel creators, and go and break down the discovery piece by piece. But when you have channel creators making videos and putting and displaying this whole discovery that was released with nothing redacted at all, like 99% of it. And, you guys know how many views that the Watts case, gets on each video. There's some that are over, 1 million views, 500,000, and that's over 2 years now of just people watching these videos and not having any of parties involved's personal information protected. So you have Shanann Watts' co-workers like Cindy and Christina Meacham, Addie, you name it, Chris's co-workers, Nicole Atkinson. They didn't even redact Chris's social security number. They didn't bother to redact Amanda McMahon's, the Okay, sorry about that. Well, let me say hi to some people that just came in. If anybody did, no one knew. Okay. Well, that's good then. Yes. You want me to read the chat? What? Did I miss something? Um. So where was I? Oh, have I heard of Brian's Minute Men apps? Yes. Well, apps. I've heard of the app, but I didn't know there was multiple apps. Why do you ask, Anon? Oh, you have an idea for it? Okay, cool. Yeah, you put it in the chat. Okay, cool. Um, so okay, so now where was I? Oh, so okay, so you have again Shanann's friends and coworkers who didn't have their information protected. Chris's coworkers, like I said, and Amanda McMahon, who was the woman who came forward and said that she had a one night stand with Chris. Her address, phone number, I mean, you name it. How is it that, and I'm really surprised that there aren't more people or channel creators asking this question, because it's one of the biggest red flags, in my opinion, in this case. Why was nobody's personal information protected? So I mean, put yourself in their shoes. Can you imagine if you had your address and phone number and name where you worked released to thousands of people? And so now what? Now you have to either move or you have to get a new phone number, or it's the whole privacy thing. If you go and you look at other cases or case documents or discoveries, for the most part, you're going to see a lot of black bars going across that document. And underneath all those black bars are going to be personal information of parties involved in that case in order to protect their privacy or their safety, depending on what kind of case it is. Hey T, how are you? So again, why, I'm just curious why there aren't more people asking this question. Why is it only the Watts case that for some reason or another it was okay to release all of this personal information of parties involved? Like, how is that okay? there's I just read that I may have read before a long time ago, but I didn't remember. But I noticed that Cindy Durosset, I'm probably saying that wrong. Again, it's probably French, Durossier or something. But it says in the discovery, she asked law enforcement, she told them that I want to help you guys and do what I can, but I don't want my personal information released to the public. And yet it still was anyways. I mean, again, that's based off of the official narrative. And then you have Shanann's friend who wrote that letter, who lives in North Carolina. She also says, or states in that letter, that she wants to make sure that this letter that she's writing to law enforcement and her personal information is not going to be released to the public, and asked law enforcement not to do it, and they still released it. So if we're to, let's go ahead and, give them the benefit of the doubt and say that this whole thing is 100% true and the narrative's true, why would law enforcement do something like that after, someone asked for their privacy to be protected? That should be enough to infuriate not, that person, but anybody else for that matter, because, again, put yourself in their shoes. Sure, I'll help you out with this case or this missing person case or this homicide case, but please don't release any of my information, personal information, to the public or to, the news outlets. But yet they did it anyways. And not only adults, but again, minors and small minors, 3-4 years old. What if, some sort of pedophile happened to see that body cam footage of Madison? Now they know where Nicole Atkinson lives, goes to their house. I'm just throwing something out there, but you just have to think about those sort of things and why it's important to redact faces of children and also adults as well, as far as their addresses and personal information goes. So again, why does the Watts case seem to be so much different than any other case, and why is it that things seem to be able to, or the Watts case doesn't have to follow protocol or laws that other ones seem to follow? You see what I'm saying? And this, again, was one of the biggest red flags in this case. And so how is it, and I don't, someone can say, well, maybe they were all fine with their information being released. Maybe they didn't care. But I can't imagine that every single person in this case was just like, oh, sure, that's fine. I don't care. Because clearly there's been a couple people in the case that even says in the discovery that they did not want their personal information released to the public or to the news outlets. So we know that's not the case, as far as people just saying, oh, it's okay, I don't care, go ahead, no big deal. I don't care if my phone blows up 100 times a day or people show up at my house, because there's a couple people that didn't want their information released. So that's out of the question. And even if they said, I don't care, it's not always it's not up to them. Again, there's statutes and there's laws for a reason. And the reason for redaction, again, is privacy issues. So not only had I seen a discovery dump, or dumps, I should say, in a event prior to the Watts case, but then I saw it in the Watts case and I said, that's weird. Why am I seeing the same characteristics in this other orchestrated event, but now I'm seeing him in this homicide case? Wait, that's weird. Hey, Jenny. Hey, Amy. And so, that's was just one of those red flags that made me look at this homicide case from a different perspective. Although, even though I wasn't looking for those red flags, I was still able to spot them because I knew about them, if that makes sense. Hey, Tech. So also in the event prior to the Watts case, not only did they have document dumps that they call these information dumps, right? There were several of these document dumps in that case, and then in the Watts case we had I believe discovery number 1, discovery number 2. We had several different like small Shanann coming home, that footage, just little dumps, after the fact, after the discovery. So they'll release a little bit here, they'll release a little bit there, so on and so forth. So again, I'm like, why am I seeing so many of the same similarities in these two events that are completely different? Yeah, they were both tragic, but still completely different. And then there was the body cam footage, all of the body cam footage released in this case. Same thing with the case prior to, and I'm saying I'm saying like that because I can't talk about that because that it's one of the bigger ones that's frowned upon, and if you sometimes even mention it, you'll risk getting a strike on your channel or taken down. So I'll say that the October 1st event prior to the Watts case is the case that I'm referring to, or the event. So like I was saying, the case prior to this, or the event prior to this, all the body cam footage was released, all of the 911 calls, witness statements, again, the case report. Also, when that was released, 99% of that was not redacted until and it was also released online, so anybody could go and view it, go and break it down bit by bit. Just like the Watts case with this Discovery Cloud document that anybody could go to. So it wasn't redacted in this other event until over, a certain amount of time, like let's say a year or so. People start noticing that there were things in there before, or information in that case report that were no longer there. That was going, I know that was there before, so I'm not crazy. Where did it go? Then we start seeing, a black bar here, a black bar there. And then again, we say, well, that's weird. I don't remember any of this case report being redacted. So now so what they're doing is they release this, these case reports or discovery documents in order to push their agenda, in order to push their narrative, to have people who are interested in it break down everything in the discovery like we've been doing for 2 years. Same thing with that event. And people are still trying to figure out what the heck happened with that other event. So just like they did with the other event, they're slowly going in, removing stuff, redacting something here, redacting something there, hoping that, no one's going to notice, which obviously we do, or make us think we're crazy and go, but wait, I thought I could have sworn that nothing was redacted, and now, or I could have sworn that there was something there before, and now it's not. That's exactly what they're doing with the Watts case. And the Watts case, I think it started at least at, people started noticing it, I think, about a year, maybe a year and a half after the fact. We noticed that, for example, Nicole Kessinger, her June, July cell phone bill that was there before when it was first released, the discovery, is no longer there. And then it was, something else and something else that people noticed, because, again, many people have, read over that discovery and just dissected it, that they notice when stuff goes missing, especially like an entire cell phone bill. And then what did we see after stuff started disappearing? We start seeing, a redacted name here, a redacted phone number there, when we know that nothing was redacted when that discovery was released. Yeah, T. Yeah, I've been trying out Restream. It's, I don't know about it yet. I've been having issues with buttons on it and stuff, but yes, you can still have, it's pretty much like StreamYard. You can have people on panel and stuff, but you don't have to pay the premium to multi-stream. So that's kind of cool. So what is the point of whoever's doing it going in and redacting stuff out of a document that they didn't bother to redact in the first place? And not only that, but hadn't been redacted for over a year and a half. What would be the point? Hey, weirdo. Can you give more context? What do you mean, tech? Thanks for the follow, better TTV8. Why would they go in after a year and a half and start removing information, again, redacting stuff? And there are several creators who have either, downloaded it right when the discovery came out, to their computer or whatever, or channel creators who have actually requested the discovery from Weld County, who also have, a discovery that is not redacted. So it's not like several people already have like it. So going in and redacting it on the actual like document cloud just doesn't make any sense to me. We also have videos from, the very beginning of channel creators where they show the discovery, an unredacted discovery, and personal information of parties involved. And 99% of those channel creators didn't redact their information either, just to be safe for their whatever. So it's funny to me that they would go in after a year and a half later and start redacting stuff. Like, hello, I mean, clearly we know that you guys released this discovery unredacted. Buddy says hello. So why do you think they would do something like that? Even though it, again, was not redacted, none of it, for over a year and a half. So again, it's in my opinion, this is not a fact. I don't know exactly why they do that, why they go in after the fact and start taking out certain information and redacting certain information. All I know is that I've seen it before in the past, and these are the patterns that I always talk about. How they do the same, they use the same tactics, the same characteristics that you need to look out for. So again, do I have all the answers as to 100% why they do these things? Again, no. I just know that when I keep seeing them over and over again, and I see them in events or cases where it's the official narrative has many holes and discrepancies in it, then that's when I start to think, okay, something's up here. Thanks, Kaiser and Swallover, for the ice creams. Appreciate it. So I personally believe that they do this, and I mentioned it earlier, but after they have put these case documents out, or this case discovery, right? Make it so that people have buried their heads in it, distracting from what's going on around us, sending many people down rabbit holes, trying to dissect the case, trying to solve it, trying to figure out why in the hell there are so many discrepancies and inconsistencies in this case discovery. Because, and not only that, but they left us with a lot of unanswered questions when it should be open and shut, especially since there was no trial, and since Chris pled guilty, and since they are what appears to be trying to be transparent. But there's so much missing, and again, so many inconsistencies, and that's how they get people to bury their heads, like we've been doing for the past 2 years in this discovery, trying to find the answers as to what happened, because we were not they haven't provided us with these answers. Okay? They did not give us a motive, or even attempt to give us a clear motive as to why Chris did what he did. And that's, for the most part, what a lot of, I guess, true crime people want to know, or not just true crime, but people in general. Why do, people end up being murderers? What makes people do what, like, terrible things that they do, like murder your entire family? So when we don't have a motive, a clear motive, or even an attempt at some sort of reason for why Chris did this, people are going to naturally want to find the answers if they aren't given the answers from the source itself, or from who we expect to know the answers, which would be law enforcement. So people need to see that that the discovery was released for a reason. Okay? It wasn't because, law enforcement was forced to, or whatever. They can use that stupid bullshit excuse. They did the same thing for the event prior to the Watts case. Again, patterns. And I know that's just one example, but without having to say this event and that event, like, they claim that the media made a big fuss about it, and threatened to sue them if that police department in the event before this Watts case didn't release the body cam footage, the case report, the 911 calls, you name it. Okay. That's just an excuse that they use to make it look like the media's, looking out for us, and they want transparency and they want answers, and giving them an excuse to release this information all at once without just saying, hey, we're just releasing this for no apparent reason because we just want to. Because I was apparently corrected, because I thought that they were or had released all of this information in the Watts case because Colorado was an open records state. But somebody chose to correct me and say, and I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't seen anywhere or any documentation that says that the media made a fuss about it and forced Weld County to release this information. But either way, they still release this information, and a ton of it, and they haven't done that for any other tragic homicide case. Like, all this information being released, and when I say all, it's really, when you think about it, it's not a lot. Because if there was a lot of information, we probably wouldn't be trying to figure shit out. Or if they were as transparent as they're supposed to be or claim to be, we wouldn't be trying to figure out all of these questions that they left us with, which is done on purpose to confuse, to, again, make people bury their heads in this damn discovery and try to figure stuff out and figure out the holes and the inconsistencies and get some of the answers to these questions that law enforcement left us with, which they will never, ever give answers for. Again, it's done on purpose. So by releasing all this information, like the discovery and the body cam footage and all of Shanann's Facebook videos, everyone gets pulled in. And here we are, 2 years later, over 2 years later, still trying to find the damn answers to this case that no one can seem to find answers for. There's a crap ton of theories. There's a ton of theories, but as far as I know, no one else has been able to give some sort of explanation as to why this case doesn't make sense except for me. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything like that, but I have never once changed my theory. I've always had the same theory. And I'm trying to say, hey, look at this case from a different perspective, because this other, whatever else that we're doing is not, all this theorizing, it's not working. People are going around in circles over and over and over again, like going through the discovery again. Yes, can you find something that you maybe didn't notice before? Sure. But I'm telling you, they do this on purpose, you guys. There's a reason why the Watts case has pulled so many people in, and why so many people cannot walk away from it. And I've seen it before in the case prior and also in other cases. And I mentioned the one prior to this one a lot just because it has every red flag that the Watts case has. And because I followed that case from day one. Now, I didn't make videos on it and for 2 years like I have with this one, but I did follow it, extensively for a while. And again, people are still trying to figure it out. People are still sending in FOIA requests for that event. And you know what's happening when they're filing FOIA requests? They're being denied over and over and over again because they're never going to release any information that's going to help anybody figure out what the hell happened in that event. And it's kind of it's funny because I never really, I mean, I guess I did think about this, but it's even similar to how, you know, many people in the true crime community are saying the Watts case is, you know, 100% a cover up now. Because over time, people started noticing inconsistencies, right? Because we dissected the discovery. I noticed, you know, these inconsistencies like a long, long time ago, just, you know, a few months into the case. Not because I'm like smarter or wiser or whatever, more intelligent than anybody else. It's because I was able to spot these red flags and these characteristics that I'm trying to show you guys. That's why. Not because I'm smarter, but because I've seen it before and I recognize them. Not right away, as I've said before in previous lives, because I didn't know, I wasn't expecting it. So I wasn't even thinking to look out for them. But even though I wasn't in that mindset, I was still even able to spot those red flags. Do you see what I'm saying? So even in that other event, there are, you know, individuals like myself who knew that it was orchestrated or know that it was orchestrated, which would, you know, obviously fall into the cover up category. But then there were others who were trying to do like the same thing and dissect it and try to figure out what happened and all the unanswered questions, who also thought it was a cover up, but didn't realize that it was orchestrated. They thought it was just, you know, corruption by that police department. So just like the Watts case, there's many people, many people that believe that the, you know, Frederick Police Department, CBI are, you know, all in cahoots and went to great lengths to cover up something with this case. So I'm kind of surprised I never thought of that exactly that before. But and I only laugh because it's just crazy how there's two completely different events, but they have all the same characteristics and red flags. So yes, I see how it does look like a cover up and it does fall into that category, but it's not because of Anna Darko trying to save face or, you know, because of the bad publicity or because Nicole Kessinger was sleeping with some bigwig at Anna Darko and so they put her into witness protection because they didn't want her. Like, no. Like, you have to look at other, you know, other from a different, you have to look at it from a different angle. Okay. So like, I personally, you know, I don't, this is not a fact, but I mean, if you were law enforcement, do you really, do you think that they would release this information and purposely make themselves look incompetent or fools because they didn't investigate Kessinger or because they didn't do this or they didn't do that or they, you know, didn't tape the crime scene, put tape around the, you know, or treat the house as a crime scene? Do you really think that law enforcement would release all this information just to make them look like idiots and then just to cover it up? I personally don't think so. Or if, you know, Anna Darko really, really wanted this case to go away, with as powerful as they are, or at least oil companies are, if they really, really wanted to make this case go away and open and shut, they would have made sure that this discovery did not get released, or the body cam footage or any information in this case. They could have very easily made it so that none of this was made public. So, when people say that Anadarko wanted it to all go away, well, they didn't do a very good job. Besides maybe, getting Chris to plead guilty to all the murders or something. But that still doesn't help with any of this information being released. You see what I'm saying? Hey, Gypsy. And so I'm just really trying to get people to look at it from a different perspective. And again, I know that's hard because people are so invested in this case, and people all, most people want justice, the majority of people, for the victims, or they're emotionally invested in this case, which is one of the worst things you can be, as far as if you really wanted to solve a crime, or if you wanted to find facts. You can't have emotions, or you can't have it go in with a biased opinion. You can't go into an investigation and loathe Kessinger, the mistress, right? You're like, oh, I can't stand her. She's a homewrecker. She needs to pay for what she did, or whatever. She needs to get a polygraph. She needs to be taken in. You can't. Emotions are not facts. And when you have a biased opinion, or when you have emotions or emotionally invested in a case, those emotions or that bias is going to prevent you from getting to the truth and seeing facts. Just like law enforcement or detectives, they have to be trained to not, no matter how many innocent lives they walk, crime scenes they walk into, or see a child's life being taken. Police officers and detectives, they can't have that emotion with them, because it will cloud their judgment from seeing the facts or missing evidence in a case because of their bias or being emotionally affected. So, if you're muted, Shan, if they can't push those emotions aside, then they need to, do the right thing and say, hey, look, go to their lieutenant or whatever and say, look, I don't think I'm the best one for this case, because a child's involved or whatever. And knowing that, I don't think I would be able to do my best as far as my job goes in this particular case. You see what I'm saying? So, regardless if it's a law enforcement agent or detective, or just, a regular person who likes true crime, having those emotions are going to cloud judgment and seeing facts. Because when you for the people that do want justice, and all they are going to see is that Nicole Kessinger is guilty, and she, regardless if she had help in the murders or she did the murders or whatever, that's all they're going to see. And even if they see any evidence over here, or if they see evidence that clears her name, it's not going to, for the majority of people, it's not going to matter, because all they're going to see is and want is her to, pay for what she did. I don't want to say pay for what she did. That sounds bad. I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but does that make sense? So, I myself, I have never been, what I can 100% say, I have never, ever been emotionally affected by this case. Now, the first time I saw Dr. Phil, the first time I heard about this case was on Dr. Phil. And when I just happened to turn it on right when Chris is standing on his porch, pleading for the safe return of Shanann and the girls. Now, did I say, wow, that's horrific. That's terrible. How could somebody do that to their pregnant wife and their children? Okay. Did I cry? Did I just, again, break down in tears or anything? No, because that's just not number one, that's not the reaction I got with this case, which could be probably very telling, but because I don't want to say I'm not an emotional person, because I'll cry I'll get all teary-eyed if it's like a sad commercial, so I guess it just depends. But did I think it was horrific when I heard what had happened? Yeah, but I don't get emotionally invested, I guess. But another reason why I believe I didn't get emotionally invested is because I could see this case for what it really was. And when I first saw the body cam footage and Nate's security footage, I immediately got this feeling that it was staged. I didn't get that, that feeling in my chest, oh my God, this is horrible, as if it were, a real event. So my point is that I have been able to look at this case from a different perspective because I have not been emotionally affected by it, and because I can look at it from a different perspective, to whereas others who might have been, affected emotionally or might have a biased opinion on someone involved or the entire case would not be able to look at it from a different perspective. Because again, it's like tunnel vision. All they see is, Kessinger, guilty, guilty, guilty. Or Shanann and the girls, victims, justice for them, justice for them. So I've said several times to you guys, I know it's difficult, but you really, really have to try to push those emotions aside. So you have to think, hey, have we been told that Shanann is a victim to a very horrendous act? Yes. But does that mean that she was 100% had no is she 100% an angel is what I'm saying? I'm trying to figure out how to say this. Just because you're a victim, it doesn't make you an angel, or everybody has their bad traits about them or whatever. Do you see what I'm saying? Or just because Shanann was, what we saw and was that she was, she lit up a room. She was, very pretty. She was a great mom, but that's how they pull you in. So Shanann was a great pick for this event, if you see where I'm getting at. She was perfect for it, to be honest. So, but we only know what we've been told. We didn't know the families personally. We don't know the type of people that the Watts are. We don't know the type of people that the Ruseks are. The Ruseks can claim to be victims for as long as they want. It doesn't, just because you're a victim of a crime or something, it doesn't make you a good person or innocent. You see what I'm saying? And that's why they've been pulling this whole poor us, death threats, harassment, victim thing. It's to pull at heartstrings. It's so that when someone like myself tries to call some, people like the Ruseks out, I'm going to look like the POS, because how dare I talk bad about these victims of this, whose family members were murdered in a horrific way, right? It's those kind of tactics that they use on purpose. Because I've seen it happen before, you guys. Hey, Rooster. So without trying to, like, because I've already gone over that in my past couple of lives, but I want to focus on the fact that all of this information was just released, and all of it was not redacted. Nobody's personal information was protected, and nobody is making a fuss about that, as far as I know, besides me. How can you simply just straight up just release all of this information about all of everybody in the case, all the parties involved, and when we know that there are privacy laws and statutes there for a reason, to protect people from harm or from privacy issues. Like, go watch those Discovery, the body cam show that I was telling you guys about. Go watch any other documentary about another case, another homicide case. If they showed actual body cam footage, they're not gonna say, "Oh yeah, Shanann's number was 910 da 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 da," or Chris's number, and show the child's face on the. It's not real life, you guys. It's it was released on purpose, okay? They didn't redact it on purpose because it's a show. The halftime show is weird, Kaiser. Yeah, I'm sure it is. Probably a lot of occult symbolism in it too. But I don't know. I'm not familiar with The Weeknd, but I don't think I've even heard any other songs. Maybe one. But it's released that way on purpose again. It's this is why the way that they orchestrated it and what they, there's reasons as to why this case does not make sense. Okay? And there's reasons why certain things were done in this case that are not done in other cases. And why they can get away with things in this case that they probably couldn't get away with other cases. Like not taping off the crime scene, not properly handling evidence at the forensics laboratory with the evidence from Survey 319. Oh, sure, just brush all the dirt into the trash can, because who knows, there might be evidence in there, but oh well, it's just some dirt, who cares? Or wear gloves, but then touch your dirty cell phone and then touch the evidence and then put it in the drying locker. Like, it's not realistic. Or, I mean, think about it, you guys. They showed us body cam footage of the Thayers coming to pick up Dieter from the Watts home. Why in the hell is that relevant to the case whatsoever? Yes, Dieter cute. Do I love dogs? Do I love animals? Yes. But how in the hell is releasing body cam footage of the Thayers coming to pick up Dieter from the house relevant to or have anything to do with the case at all? But yet they held back information that is relevant to the case that they're never going to show us. Or how is releasing body cam footage of law enforcement transporting Ronnie Watts, Chris Watts' father, to a hotel from the police station? How in the hell is that relevant to the case? It's not. But you know what it makes? It makes a great show. Oh my God, look at the Thayers are going to pick up Dieter from the house. Oh my God, that's so sad. That's so terrible. But it pulls people in like a television show. Do you get what I'm saying? Okay, Brandy, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Um, but you see what I'm saying? So like useless body cam footage, it's like, why would you release that to us that has no relevance, but then you keep from us all, everything that would be relevant to this case that we deserve to have? Because, we're the public, we deserve to know what the hell is going on with law enforcement, or why the hell, Chris is murdering his entire family, or whatever the transparency thing is. But so you have, picking up Dieter, and then you got pointless body cam footage of taking Ronnie to a damn hotel. Like, some people might want to see that, but I don't want to freaking see that. I don't care about that shit. What do I care about Ronnie being transported to a hotel? That doesn't help me solve a case or help me um, figure out what the frick is going on with this case. It does nothing. But you know what it does? It makes great for a show. And I hope you know where I'm getting at with this, because I don't I mean, I do have a lot of information, but I feel like I'm going to start really repeating myself over again. And I guess I'll do that. I don't mind doing that, because getting this truth out about this case is super important to me. Because, no matter what, like, we all deserve, as the public, deserve to know the truth, regardless of what it is. So, not to get all sappy, moving on, and I'm gonna end this here in a couple minutes, so, because I promised I would keep it short. Then you have over 200 pages in the discovery, okay? Over 200 pages. So that takes out, I don't know, whoever's good at fractions, however much of the discovery, 200 pages out of 1980. I think I did the math at one point, but anyway, so that's quite a bit of pages of letters to Chris from women, that they wrote to him in prison after he was sentenced and he was in Weld or Dodge or whatever. Over 200 pages of letters written from women, and some not women, but put in the discovery. What in the hell do those letters from crazy women, in my opinion, that would even want to write this? Sorry, I know some people have written to him, but who are sitting there saying that. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Okay, I'm not going to judge anybody. I'm going to try not to. My point is, what in the hell do those letters have anything to do with the case? What is relevant about any of those letters to the case? Case was closed, right? So why are they giving us over 200 pages of letters for us to read from women that women wrote to Chris in prison? That doesn't those 200 pages of those letters, they don't provide us with why Chris did what he did. They don't help us understand why he did what he did. They don't explain his motive for what happened. It doesn't explain why there's so many holes in the inconsistency. It doesn't explain anything. It's just filler, useless information that they decided to throw in there. I don't care about those letters. Some people might care, but I don't give a damn, because that doesn't tell me shit about what the hell's going on with this case. But you know what it does? Is it gets people pissed off. They say, how could these women write to Chris in prison? Are they crazy? Like, what in the hell's the matter with them? And it gets people's, heartstrings going, whether it be like, like upset because it stirs up emotion again, everything Chris did, and thinking about Shanann and the girls. And it's like dramatic, I guess, and or, 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 irrelevant to the case, but you know what it does? Puts on a good show, builds the show up, right? Ooh, letters from women to Chris, you know what I mean? Like, no, it's all it's all for, you know, the big show. I don't know how else to say it, like, without getting in trouble with the YouTube, you know, Nazis. But now I'm gonna get in trouble for saying Nazi. Oh boy. Hey, Octavia. No, thank you for the lemons, Brandy and Gypsy. Appreciate it. So it's stuff like that where it's, you know, you got to say, why in the hell would they put that type of information in there? But they wouldn't ask Chris questions like, oh, hey, Chris, why did you Google two different volcanoes? Because apparently a law enforcement thought it was important enough to put in the discovery, you know, that because, you know, whatever they put in there, remember, and I've said this before, whatever they put in that discovery is what they wanted us to see. Not because it's relevant to the case, not because it helps explain anything. Like I said, they put it in there to push their narrative and to push their agenda and for, you know, specific reasons that help push the psychological aspect of this case. So why would law enforcement think it was so relevant or important to the case to put in the discovery that Chris Googled these volcanoes, right? Or the Dead Sea Scrolls or whatever. But they didn't think it was important enough to ask him in his interviews, hey, Chris, why did you Google Mount Kalima? I'm just curious because why did you? You know, are you planning on going to the volcanoes to visit? Like, no, but they don't ask that because you know why? Because those volcanoes represent some sort of, you know, they're symbolic of something. They're little Easter eggs that they put in these orchestrated events because they think they're clever and they like using their little codes and their numerology. Because if it was that important and relevant to the case, why put it in the discovery, but not ever once ask Chris why in the hell he Googled freaking volcanoes weeks before the murders, right? Or, hey, Chris, why did you Google dioptase? Why did you Google that specimen that can only be found in Arizona and third world countries, right? Just curious, because, you know, we put it in the discovery because we thought that it was pretty important, so we thought we should ask you why you Googled dioptase. But no, they don't ask Chris that in his interviews. Why? Why put that? Why did law enforcement think it was that relevant and important for us to see that Chris Googled that, but it wasn't important enough for them to ask him in his interviews? Why did you Google the Dead Sea Scrolls, Chris? Are you planning to read them? Or are you planning to go? Or, oh, that's right, you're going to buy them for Kessinger, right? Oh, but wait, you can't buy them. Silly boy, Chris. Or, I don't know, name something else. What else am I missing, you guys? Or why didn't they ask Kessinger about any of her search things that she's, you know, searched that they put in the discovery that they thought was apparently relevant, but not relevant enough to ask her? Because it's more for us and not for the case. Because, and I've brought many, many, many of them up in my videos that I've made of all the Easter eggs and all the damn numerology and all the codes and all the connections that they put in this case right in our faces. Many people will not notice them. They will never, ever notice them. But if you know how these people operate, you will be able to spot these clues and these numbers and these patterns that they use, and that's going to be a way for you to decipher whether or not what you're being told and fed from the mainstream media or from law enforcement or from the government, you're going to be able to tell whether or not what you're being told is in fact true, or if it's just another, fabrication or another show put on the world stage for everyone to see. And it's not like, oh no, you're looking for them. So if you have to look for them, then of course you're going to see these numbers come up. Or of course, 13 and 33, those are common numbers. They show up all the time. I get that. But when you have them in one event or one case several times, we're not talking about like seeing a 13 in the newspaper here or seeing 13 in the television show here. No, we're talking about the same numbers over and over and over again in the Watts case and in other orchestrated events, because that's what they do. And again, if you know how they work or how they operate, it's going to be clear as day. And they're not even trying to hide it, okay? They're putting it right in our faces, and they're blatantly saying, hey, we are responsible for this. We are telling you right to your face, and pretty much mocking us. They're not hiding it with these events. And again, I'm not the only one who is pointing out these inconsistencies, these patterns. I just happen to be the only one that's doing it in the true crime community. There's other channel creators, there's other people out there that notice these symbols and these Easter eggs and these little, predictive programming. Oh well, I said it. I don't care. I don't care. There's other people that are exposing this. It's not just myself. But I don't even think that other channels who expose it for other, bigger events, I don't think they're even aware that this kind of stuff is happening in the true crime or homicide cases. Because I had my suspicions about some of the other bigger cases, but I had no idea until this case. And again, I'm just trying to get people to look at it from a different perspective, because again, it's been over 2.5 years now, or going on 2.5 years now, and people are getting nowhere. They're just going in circles and circles, and they're throwing out every theory in the book. Now, are people noticing, like, people like Lana? And I'm sorry, like, I know a lot of people don't like her, but I got to give it to her. She's pointing out a lot of the same things that I've noticed, a lot of the same things that other people notice, just like KK. Do I agree with either one of them? No. What they're doing? No. But I have to admit that they are pointing out and saying a lot of the same things I've said. But as far as just the inconsistencies go, or the, discrepancies in the case, the reason, the reason why, let's say, Nicole Atkinson's 360 app data doesn't mess up, it's not because it's a cover up. It's because it's an orchestrated event where there's bound for mistakes to happen. Or the fact that Chris didn't have enough time to do everything that he did. Well, mistakes are bound to happen because of Shanann's flight being delayed. And these kind of events, especially if they're live events, you're always going to have mistakes that happen because you're talking about it being live. So whether it be weather, whether it be any sort of, outside influence that wasn't supposed to be there, might, possibly fudge up the whole thing, so when you're dealing with stuff like body cam footage, that's why people are noticing mistakes or in the body cam footage. Like why the purse was on the table and then it wasn't on the table, and why there was pickles on the table and there was, or whatever. Or why people aren't acting the way you would think normal people would act when people are missing. I just said people a lot, but why Chris shows duper's delight or starts laughing in odd moments, or just why Nicholas Atkinson said, "Hey, remember me?" to Coonrod, and Coonrod kind of goes, "Oh, yeah," because mistakes are going to happen, not because it's a cover up, because it's just inevitable in orchestrated events. They're not going to be 100% perfect. And sometimes the mistakes might be there on purpose in order to send people down rabbit holes or to cause confusion. Or you're going to have controlled oppositions who are going to spit out some factual information, and then they're going to put out a whole lot of disinformation in order to just, steer people in the wrong direction from the actual truth. Oh, bye, Gypsy. Thanks for hanging out, listening to me. Hey, Fuzz. And I know I got off track a little bit there because, again, I wanted to concentrate on this whole privacy issue and why so much information was released, even though, and again, I don't say a ton of information or anything like that, because in reality, there really isn't a ton of information released. It's the amount of information released in this at once and in this specific case. But people really need to ask themselves, why is it this case? Why is nothing done, or why is everything done so differently with this case? And why can't people walk away from it? And why are people so addicted to it? And why are there more, or less questions in other cases where we didn't get all this information? Why in the hell is there more unanswered questions when we received the amount of information that we did compared to other cases? Because it's done that way on purpose. Because I've seen it before in other events. It draws people in, and some of them are going to be more successful than others. But for some reason or another, this Watts case was orchestrated really well or put together really well, and it was more successful than maybe other ones, just the way it was put together. Like, in the true crime community, you can discuss, I'm sure you guys have discussed, all these other cases, like, I don't know, whatever, you name them, right? But did it pull you in as much as the Watts case? I don't know, because again, I this is the only true crime case I've ever investigated or whatever, or delved into. But I'm sure it did pull, you guys in, or people in the true crime community in, but not nearly as much as this case. So do you think maybe that maybe this information, the amount of information released, was done for a reason, and not because of what they're saying, or maybe that explains why nobody can get over it and why people are so invested in it and hooked on this case? Like, has anybody stopped and thought about it and said, wait, there is a lot of, coincidences in here and convenient things that seem to happen in this case. And why does everything seem to just flow together, even though there's like, so many gaps in between. Oh, I just said gap. I hate the word gap. Okay. Gap and gape. Anyway. I just need, or what, not need, but I just want people to go a different route, because whatever, these, it's all these other theories and all this other talk and all this, it's getting nowhere. And I said this earlier, like, people are just going in circles and circles and circles, and you can come up with as many theories as you want, and you can go through the discovery as many times as you want, and you might find something else that you didn't see before, but you're just going to end up, and it's just going to lead you back to the same spot. And now the problem is those those controlled opposition. There's those channels that are here to purposely put out these theories so that people will stay interested in the case, so the case never dies down, so people are still making money. Like, one the other day just said, "Oh, I know for a fact that there's still an ongoing investigation into somebody in this case." No, you don't. You don't know shit. You're just saying that because you know that it'll get people excited and say and give them false hope and think that, that maybe Kessinger is the one being investigated, or one of the 12,000 accomplices that are now supposedly in on it. But people just believe it because they said it. Oh, well, if this channel creator says it, then there must be an ongoing investigation when he has no evidence to back it up whatsoever. They come out with all these crazy, crazy theories. Now, I'm not saying that, they're impossible, but when you come out with theories that have no evidence to back it up or make it even like plausible. And then you have, sorry about that, you have individuals like Sherilyn Cadle, who nobody should take anything that woman says is factual, because number one, she's getting her information from a pathological liar, and number two, she doesn't have the best reputation as far as truth goes. We know about the plagiarism and whatnot, but people just believe it and think, well, holy cow, I bet Bella did walk up those stairs to her death. No, she didn't walk up any stairs to her death. But it sure is dramatic, right? It sure pulls in heartstrings, even thinking at the fact that Bella might have walked up those stairs to her doom. Dun, dun, dun. Right? It makes for a dramatic scene, but it doesn't make it true. It's not, And that's what makes what I'm doing more difficult, are those channel creators and someone like Sherilyn Cadle or someone like Mr. Mark Gillespie, who's this renowned private investigator Why? Because that's what we were told. So we're just gonna say, okay, he's got his he's credible, his credentials, they sound good. No, what kind of private investigator who, number one, was in those leaked phone calls with Chris at the prison, talking to Chris? That should be your first red flag. Number two, goes around from social media channel to channel and says, oh, yeah, I think that the case is still open and there's still an investigation going on. How in the hell do you know? And even if you freaking knew, why would you come out and call out law enforcement or whoever to get some sort of publicity for your personal or for your private investigator thing? No, he's there to, in my opinion, get people excited and say, oh, Mark Gillespie, he's a private investigator. He's got all these 30 years of experience in, this kind of stuff. So I bet he knows what he's talking about. No, I could do a live stream tomorrow and tell you all this crap. You guys probably wouldn't believe me, but if it was another channel creator, you probably would. But I could literally make up anything I wanted to tomorrow. That doesn't make it true. Okay? It doesn't. But this case, and I'm going to end it right now because I'm hungry. It's dinner time. But this case, if you look around, you guys, it's turned into a 3-ring circus. I'm going to do it. Here's a American Horror Story pitch here, right? It's turned into a real freak show. Okay? Hi, Mark. I'm not mad. Trust me, if I was mad, you would know it. Takes a lot to get me mad, but it's just because I'm frustrated, because I just feel like, and I know that even though it's obvious to me or maybe somebody else, I understand that it's not always going to be obvious to other people, and I totally understand that. But when when people keep going over and over and over again in circles and circles and this theory and this theory and getting nowhere with it. Plus, you're not going to be able to solve a case with only half of the evidence, and the evidence, we don't even know if that evidence that they gave us is even true itself. So just, I'm going to say this before I go, okay? If you truly want to find out what is really going on with this case, then you will listen to what I have to say and remember what I've been saying about the patterns, the characteristics, looking at it from a different perspective. If you really do want the truth, and I say that because I mentioned this in my other live, but I've noticed that it seems in the true crime community that I don't even know if it's actually really about true crime, because to me, people just want to hear the newest gossip on the case and whether or not Kessinger's pregnant with Chris's baby, and if she was at the beach spying on the, or whatever. See, I can't even make up this crap if I wanted to. Or police being at the Watts house, surrounding the and to me, it seems like the majority of people in true crime, they want a soap opera. They want to see who's going to get screwed over next, or they want to see what's going to happen with the mistress. Ooh, did the mistress turn into a reptilian? Like, whatever. Like, so again, if you're in the true crime community because you want to hear the newest gossip in the Inquirer, or who's talking to who, or what, whatever, or what Ronnie Watts is, if he changed football teams, he doesn't like the Steelers anymore, or if he got whatever, doesn't matter. But as far as I can, or what I've been noticing in this true crime community is I don't really think anybody really wants to know the truth about this case. I think they want to just keep trying to figure it out. And again, waiting for the next dramatic thing that some of these other channel creators are putting out, even though it's a bunch of bullcrap. And that's why I've been recently showing probably some frustration, because it's like, what am I doing here if nobody even wants to really hear the truth? And people are just going to believe everything they hear and never take it with a grain of salt. Those people are definitely not going to want to hear what I have to say. Because, even though I think my opinion on the case, I think it's actually, kind of fascinating. Actually, I think it's really fascinating. But it's not your typical, the mistress, rots in prison for the rest of her life because she was actually guilty, and whatever. It's not that. But again, if for those of you or anyone else who does truly want to know the truth about this case, even if that means knowing that you were duped, even if it means knowing that you were made a fool of, and that whatever, like, yeah, does that suck? Sure it does. Nobody wants to admit that they were duped, or again, like, made a fool of, like I just said. Nobody wants to admit that. Nobody wants to know that they were. But if they can, like, say, oh man, that was shitty, that really sucks, but shame on them, fool me once, but you know what, next time I'm not going to let them do this to me again. I'm not going to fall victim to these lies and let it affect my life, this tragedy. I'm not gonna let that happen again. Yeah, is it shitty? Yeah, did I, was I fooled for 2 years? That sucks. But you know what? I'm not gonna let it happen again. If someone can learn to do that and just accept the fact and listen to, what I'm saying and what I've been trying to say, I promise you, I would be, okay, I don't want to say promise you, I will be very, very, if you can do all those things. So push your emotions aside, look at the case from a different perspective, okay? Listen to what I have to say, even if it's not what you want to hear. Because a lot of people don't want to go there. They don't even want to just go there at all. They rather stay in their little bubble. Okay? So if you have the ability to do those things, and if you take in what I'm saying, remember these red flags, remember these characteristics that I'm telling to you, I would be very, very surprised if you did not see this case from, or if you didn't see it differently. And once you do see it, you're going to be like, holy shit, like that, it makes 110% sense. completely. Like, it's going to be a burden off your shoulder knowing that, if you can do those other things that I just mentioned. Because if you can't, then there's no point. There's just no getting around that. And those people, not those people, I don't like to say that, but those are the ones that I'm not going to be able to help, and because they're not going to even give me the benefit of the doubt. But I know I keep saying before I go, but before I go, like, you're never going to see me making videos about Kessinger being spotted at the airport. You're never going to see me making videos about whether or not she's pregnant with Jim's baby, or okay, well, I lied. I did make one video and I said that it was breaking news that Chris was actually Britney Spears. Okay, I did it. I admit it. I made one video, false video, gossip, that Chris is actually Britney Spears, which it might actually be true. So it's something to keep in mind. No, but anyways, that was just for fun. It was a joke. But you're not going to see me making video after video of these ridiculous nonsense soap opera drama TV series false disinformation. Okay, I don't care how much views it gets me, you'll never see it happen, and you have not seen it happen yet, because I'm not here to get views. I'm not here to make money. I'm not here to push an agenda, a selfish agenda. Okay, I'm not a controlled opposition like some of these other channels, who was put here to purposely cause chaos and confuse and mislead and steer people in the wrong direction from the actual truth, the opposite direction of the actual truth. So, maybe take that into consideration as well. Just saying. Because again, as far as I know, none of these other channels have been able to give you an explanation as to what the hell is going on with this case. All they're doing is just spewing out more and more disinformation. Not all of them. I know that some channels are still there for the right reasons. They believe that someone else was involved, and they truly do want to find the truth. Okay, so I want to make that clear. I'm not saying everybody, but there are a lot of them, and there are certain ones who, again, are purposely put there to cause confusion and to mislead. So you're not going to see me doing anything that those channels are doing. So I know I got off track, but the main purpose of this live was to point out again the fact that nobody's personal information was protected in this case, even minors. And not only that, but the amount of information that was thrown at us. So just try to keep that in mind for the future. And I hope everybody has a great Super Bowl Sunday and a Super Watts Sunday. That was really stupid. Okay. Until next time, don't believe everything you hear. Think for yourself. Do your own research. Signing off. Okay, bye.